That got weird.
This is Tyler Hansbrough, and you're listening to Locked On Tar Heels.
You are Locked On Tar Heels, your daily podcast on the UNC Tar Heels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, what's up? Happy Monday. It's February 2nd, 2026. Welcome into the Locked On Tar Heels podcast, only daily North Carolina show out there. I am your host, Isaac Schade. You're joining me at the place to get your Tar Heels content every single day. It's all part of the Locked On Network, now the #1 sports podcast network out there. Thanks for making us your first listener watch every single day. It's great to have you with us. Special shout out to all the everydayers, all the members of the Locked On Tar Heels Discord, and our insiders as well. All right, you guys, this episode is brought to you by Mazda, who puts the same drive into every detail of their vehicles. Wins define the moment, putting in the work, that defines you. Stay tuned for highlights in this week's Moving the Game Forward moment. There's more to a Mazda because there's more to you. Score of this basketball game. Carolina wins 87-77. Coming in, or they're now 18-4 overall, 6-3 in ACC play. That moves them into a tie for 5th. This was a quad 3 win at KenPom. I actually haven't even checked it out yet. They basically stay where they were, 29th overall, 18th in offensive efficiency, and 54th in defensive efficiency. I gotta think those numbers probably would have looked better if this game had ended at about 32 minutes into it, right? Good grief. Like, what on earth are we doing here? It is technically a party because they won, but it almost feels like we need a separate party for the first 32-ish minutes of the game and a therapy section for the final 8 minutes of the game because, oh my, you guys. Hey, we'll take it. 4 straight wins for the Tar Heels. Reverse jinx is now 3-0. You're welcome. Thank you very much. And it does set up the game with Duke on Saturday. Both teams coming in looking really good. Obviously, Duke plays on Tuesday night. Look, before we talk about the specifics of the game, the good, bad, and the ugly, the singularly best thing I saw all night long was my man Roy Williams rocking the Gilligan bucket hat, just like an absolute dude. On a night where things got frustrating late, it just made me so happy. I wish Miss Wanda had put one on too, but I tell you what, Roy Williams, what a guy, just looked absolutely fantastic. Legitimately, as we begin to now talk about this game, it is kind of mind-bogglingly odd how this went. We've seen it a couple times this season, the Navy game, the Stanford game that Carolina should have won but ended up losing. Like, this feels kind of like those games where, like, literally all my notes for the show were basically, wow, Carolina got that massive lead against Georgia Tech, kept pushing it out. They did the exact same tonight and just kept pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. And then what on earth? Like, it felt like Carolina got up to that. I think it got as big as 32 was the biggest of the lead. And they maintained that. It was 31 points as late as 7 minutes left in the game. So we'll say the first 33 minutes. And I understood Carolina being kind of content to run some clock, right? You're up 31 points. And I didn't even think it was that the Syracuse zone messed with Carolina. It's that they took their foot off the gas way too much. They got sloppy with the basketball. They didn't communicate as well defensively because the defense for the vast majority of this great game was phenomenal. Like, what a weird turn of events out of nowhere. I mean, this game was cruising. 76-45 with 7 minutes to go. And Syracuse cuts it all the way down to as little as 6. So 83-77. I mean, that's an insane run for the Orange. Carolina has to put back in the starters. Caleb Wilson comes back in the game. I I guess maybe the silver lining in that is, hey, you were cruising and looked phenomenal. I mean, this team looked great. They looked so good. I guess the good news is the coach has your attention now because you boys choked some stuff away there late in this game. And it's odd because I've got so many positive things to talk about that it almost feels like fake to talk about the good stuff because of how it feels right now. Like, are you guys with me there? What's interesting is if you listen to our Monday show, my big worry was that Carolina would look ahead to Duke. And it was like, not even, I still believe they didn't. Like, even with the way the final 7 minutes turned out, I still feel like Carolina didn't look ahead. Like, not even close. Carolina got out to a 9-2 lead. They eventually worked it out to even bigger. They used a flurry of threes, similar to Saturday, to get that first double-digit lead. Syracuse got it down to as little as 5 in the first half, but Carolina just kept pushing and pushing, got it out to that 14-point halftime deficit. And then the beginning of the second half, Carolina never let it get below 14. They just systematically pushed it out to that high lead of 32 points. And I mean, they were carving up the Syracuse zone. That's why I'm saying, like, I don't think it was the Syracuse zone that messed Carolina up, because Carolina was, I mean, they were moving the ball beautifully against the zone. So I feel like I heard Jay Will say on the broadcast, like, the zone's getting to him. No, it wasn't. It wasn't. It was that Carolina, I think what happened was, if I could try to get inside the players' minds here a little bit, they came into the game ready to go. They came into the game not looking ahead at all. But you know what I think happened? Once they built a 30-plus point cushion, then they started easing off. Now you start thinking about Duke. You got Jay Will sitting over calling the game, right? Like, it's at that point that it's like, all right, I see. And this is a game where Carolina had done everything they need to, but now we all sit here with a sour taste in our mouth. And I mean, look, I literally wrote in my notes at the 15-minute mark of the second half, Syracuse was done. They were cooked. They wanted absolutely nothing to do with this basketball game. Carolina had taken control. They were doing anything they wanted, the Tar Heels, and stopping Syracuse from being able to do anything. And it was multiple Tar Heels filling it in and doing it really well. And then they just took their foot all the way off the gas and let the Orange fight back. And that's a bummer, man, because we should be going to bed on Monday night feeling great about what the Tar Heel team just did. But now, I don't think so. All right, let's talk about something happy before we get to the break here. The front court was fantastic. Caleb Wilson, Henri Veesaar, they just keep doing what they're doing. For Caleb Wilson, it is his 16th 20-point game of the season, 22 points, 1 rebound shot, another non-double-double for Caleb. Just keeps not getting to it. And 1 assist, unfortunately 4 turnovers for Caleb and 1 steal. And so, like, he was great. Henry, 17 points on double-double, 4 assists, just 1 turnover, a block, and 2 steals. Henry keeps putting out these stat lines, man, that are insanely good. Perhaps my favorite thing about the bigs tonight was the big-to-big passing. In the first 9 minutes of the game, you had 3 instances of that happening. In fact, 2 of them were Carolina's first 2 buckets. Henry just throwing over the top to Caleb, the first for a dunk, the other for a nice layup. And then 8-9 minutes into the game, Caleb repaid the favor just all over the top to Henry. Man, their ability to find each other is so beautiful to watch, man. I absolutely love to see these guys going to work for one another and doing those kind of things. And also, I thought what they were doing in some ways defensively was really critical as well. Let's take a couple things that Henry did. There was a pass in the, I want to say, first half. It was a blob play for Syracuse. No, I mean, I guess technically it was, but it was on the other side. It was under it was under their own basket. That's right. It was. And Henri tips the inbound pass, jumps and throws it off the Syracuse player to get possession for Carolina. He had another one where easily could have fouled the Syracuse player coming into the lane. I can't remember who it was, but just kept great verticality, was able to tip the shot. Had another one where he just poked the ball away in the lane. It went right to Caleb ahead for Carolina. I mean, just really, really nice stuff from Carolina's front court. These dudes continue to show up and do it again and again and again. All right, again, there's so much good to talk about from this game. It's weird and it feels odd to say it, but I do want to get to that. I want to talk about some more of the positive things we saw, and we'll do that coming up here in just a second. Right after I tell you about FanDuel. Y'all, it's the last call for football on FanDuel. One final Sunday, one last kickoff, the final chance to get in on the action before the NFL season officially comes to a close. This is Super Bowl 60, and FanDuel is making sure you're right in the middle of it with a special offer just in time for the biggest game of the year. Whether you're backing the favorite, whether you're riding the underdog, or building one last same-game parlay, this is the game everyone's been waiting for. It's where predictions turn into plays, stats turn into storylines, and every snap feels bigger. The perfect way to cap off the season and make the Super Bowl even more exciting from kickoff all the way until the final whistle. Best of all, if you're a new customer, make a $5 bet, and if it wins, you're going to get $200 in bonus bets. There's so much great sporting action going on this weekend. The opening ceremonies of the Olympics are Friday night. Saturday is Carolina Duke. Sunday is the Super Bowl. I mean, that is a great trio of a weekend. Go ahead and check out the Carolina Duke line. It'll come out later this week. The Super Bowl, last I looked, it was 4.5. Crazy stuff there. I'm also remembering with Syracuse's comeback, Carolina didn't cover, I don't think. One of the last lines I saw was 11.5, at least. Oh, man, this was a 10-point win. Ooh, Carolina cost people some money tonight. Yikes! Make it count, because after the Super Bowl, the season is over. Last call for football on FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of Super Bowl 60. Visit FanDuel.com to go ahead and get yourself started. All right, you guys, let's pull up the box score, see how things went down for these two teams, and keep talking here. I'm still wrapping my brain around what a weird situation this was. Like, what on earth? All right. For Luka Bogavac, we've been kind of tracking how he's been doing since he's been coming off the bench and really starting to find himself. It is now a third straight double-digit game for him. 10 points in this one, 4 of 6 from the field, 1 of 1 from 3. It should have been 2 of 2. Just had his foot barely on the line on that one deep one. 2 assists, 2 turns in 23 minutes. And like, he had this one flurry that was really nice where he had that deep 2, then a 3, then an and 1 right after that. It just feels overall like he's playing in control more. One of Jonathan Powell's best scoring games as a Tar Heel. 12 points, 4 of 5 from the field, 3 of 4 from 3. Did foul out, unfortunately. And then you also had Jaren Stevenson knocking in 7 points for himself, had 4 rebounds, 2 assists, but he also had 2 turnovers. And so in totality, we've been looking at the bench and what they contribute, and yet again, they do great stuff. It's now 4 straight games of 25 or more points in 5 straight games. Is that right? Am I thinking correctly? Let me go back and look at my notes, because I want to make sure to not lie to all of you wonderful, beautiful people out there. Yes, this is now 5 straight with 20 plus and 4 straight with 25 plus. Man, I tell you, the bench continuing to contribute in this way is exactly what they need. And it's funny because here we go. Jaden Young starts again, plays 8 minutes in this game. And it's like, look, no reason to change it. I said it after the Georgia Tech game. I'm going to keep saying it. Like, I guess you just keep starting Jaden Young. He's not playing that many minutes, but he's helping give Carolina effort and energy to start the game. It allows JP, it allows Jaren, it allows Luka to kind of take the game in a little bit and come in and really deliver a nice boost when they get into the game. And so that's great. Another thing I like about this game is much better in terms of number of three-pointers taken. It was just simply too many Saturday against Georgia Tech. Tonight against Syracuse, 18 threes. Carolina hit 8 of them, 44%. That's exactly what I want to see. I think part of the reason for that, and I would imagine you would agree with me here, is you notice, how did Syracuse choose to defend both Caleb Wilson and Henri Veesaar? Straight up. They did not bring double teams to either of them. I legitimately can't remember a single possession where they doubled. I mean, maybe they did, but I can't remember one. And I think what that then contributes to is Caleb and Henry pass so well out of those doubles that Carolina starts finding a bunch of wide open threes and taking them. Since there was not that sort of play tonight, it didn't get Syracuse into rotation, trying to find their way. And so Carolina's not kicking out for all of those threes. I think that is the main thing that contributed to it. Now, a couple issues. Let's get back to some things that were less savory in this game. Free throws. Carolina was technically over 70%. So they've now done that twice in a row after 13 straight games of shooting 70% or less. However, they 25 of 35. So they missed 10 free throws. A lot of that was what contributed to Syracuse's ability to work their way back into this game. In addition, the other issue for Carolina was the turnovers. And it didn't feel like it was going to be. In the first half, Carolina committed 4, which is obviously double what they committed in the entire game on Saturday, and tied how many they had committed against Virginia. But still, a good number. If you do that again, it's 8, and you're in great shape. But in the second half, Carolina committed 7 turnovers. And I'm going to look at the play-by-play here in real time, and I'm almost willing to bet that 5 of those were in the final 5 minutes of the game. Let's look. All right, so Carolina commits 7 turnovers. All 7 were in the final 10 and a half minutes of the game. 5 of the 7 were in the final 5 minutes of the game. And that's it. Again, it's not that Syracuse suddenly started doing something. With all due respect to Syracuse, they were doing, yes, they pressed a little bit more intently. But again, Carolina had handled the zone well. Carolina had done what they want. They handle zone well all the time. I legitimately think Carolina took their foot off the gas after pressing it all the way down real hard. And there you go. That was the issue there, is Carolina just got sloppy. So it's like this twofold thing for me coming away from this game. I would imagine, I haven't even gone to check social media yet. I haven't even started looking at our comments yet. I can almost guarantee that a lot of them are very doomsday feeling. And while I feel icky because of how this game ended, I do still leave this game feeling encouraged because of how Carolina played the first 33 minutes of it. Like that is what I expect from this team, especially now as they're really finding their way. I don't think the ending stretch is indicative of what we can and should expect from Carolina. I think the first 33 minutes were more in line with what and who this team actually is. And so there's that. I thought the defense for Carolina was really connected throughout the vast majority of this game. Great recovery, great help, staying in front of guys well. I know that Seth was outmatched height-wise by 6 inches, right? Donnie Freeman is 6'9", Seth's 6'3". And Donnie had 18 points in the first half. Seth was doing his very best. I love that he wasn't fouling, just using his athleticism and verticality. But he bothered him a lot in the second half. Freeman couldn't get anything going. He did ultimately have 5 points, Freeman did. But I'm curious where those 5 points came in the game. Good layup with 2.5 to go. Good layup with 7:53 to go. And a free throw with 9:38. So Freeman didn't score for the first basically 10 and a half minutes of the second half. His first field goal didn't happen until over 12 minutes into the second half. And so Carolina did a much better job on him. And I think Seth just trusted the process. Like, if I keep being physical with him, getting up into him, it's going to be frustrating and difficult. And I thought that was really good what Seth was able to do with that on Donnie Freeman. So there was that side of it for Carolina as well that I thought was good. And what's so odd, in the first quarter of this game, like the first 10 minutes, Carolina held Syracuse to 10 points. In the third quarter of this game, the first 10 minutes of the second half, Carolina held Syracuse to 8 points. That means, oh baby, Syracuse scored 45 points in the second half. That means that in the final 10 minutes, in the final quarter of this game, Syracuse scored 37. You've got to be absolutely kidding me. Is that for real life right now? Am I mathing correctly? Okay. With 10 minutes to go, Syracuse had 40 points. Yeah, they finished with 77. Literally 37 points. When did they first score? In the final 9:38 of the game. What? That is insanity that happened. And so again, what I love about it is that Carolina is going to feel really good about a lot of what they did, but oh baby, I can guarantee you that locker room is pissed off tonight. And Hubert Davis is going to let them absolutely have it over the course of the next couple days. As well he should, because that ending was not what Carolina needed to do. That was not what this team needs to be. I want to look, before we go to the comments, at some of the just ancillary numbers and see how things went. Carolina out-rebound Syracuse by 10. Led second chance points 11-6. That's good. What about fast break points? Just 10 for Carolina. Points off turnovers. Syracuse led that one. That's not good enough. And so some of the areas that Carolina should have dominated, they didn't. Points in the paint. Syracuse ended up winning that 38-34 because of this closing stretch. That's unfortunate. Syracuse, I expected this. They came into the game like fourth in the nation in blocks per game at 6.1, I believe it is. 8 blocks in this game. Carolina had just 1. So that's not good enough. So again, a very odd game where Carolina looked fantastic and phenomenal for 33 minutes. And then the final 7 is something I want to burn and never have to look at again. But I want to make the guys sit there with their eyes closed, pinned open, and force them to watch what happened when you take your foot off the gas as much as they did. It's not good enough. All right, you guys, I know we got a lot of comments. I would love to go see what you all have to say about this game, your thoughts on how it went and what Carolina needs to prepare for ahead of the Duke game. And we're going to get to that coming up in just a second. Right after I tell you about Mazda. This is Mazda's moving the game forward moment for those who show there's more to the score than what's on screen. Man, what I love for the Tar Heels as a team, as we think about moving the game forward, is that they are starting games really well of late. They haven't been getting into holes. They've been getting these leads and then pushing them out and pushing them out and pushing them out and pushing them out. And it's been great. Now, obviously, from tonight's game, we know that moving the game forward, well, it might have regressed a little bit. But, man, if you keep your foot to the metal, killer instinct, that's what we need to see going forward. But for the most part, Carolina moved the game forward tonight. These moments remind us of what it really takes to raise the bar. It's that extra work off the court, dialing in every detail, giving it that extra fire, that grit, and that I never quit mentality. Mazda puts that same passion into every model. Highlights make the reel, but what it takes to get there is what makes it count. There's more to a Mazda because there's more to you. All right, I'm going to scroll into our comments and see what we got going on there. One thing I do want to mention, though, that I was thinking about is one of the things I track is once Carolina gets a double-digit lead, how do they do at pushing it out? And in the second half, you know, the halftime margin was 14, was almost 17, but they got that nice little banked-in 3 out of nowhere to start the second half. And Carolina in that first part, never let it slip under 14 and then just pushed it out to 16, 17. It just systematically through the 20s until it got to 32. And it was so weird because it felt like that killer mentality was there. This team, Caleb Wilson out there getting on the ground, doing stuff, getting frustrated when he missed defensive assignments, all of that. And so it feels like the killer mentality is there, but then those final 7 minutes happen, and it's very head scratching. Man. Okay, let us get over to all the comments and see what happens. A lot of questions coming about no timeouts. Why didn't Coach Davis take a timeout down the stretch? This is a great question. And here's this is from W. Baxter White, who says, was it galactically stupid, I love it, that we had to put the starters back in? Yeah. Not using the timeouts was bad, but total domination when it mattered. And I think all of that is true. Very well summed up here by W. Baxter White, because frustrating. Like, had you not have to put the starters back in, similar to Saturday, nobody would have played more than 30 minutes in this game. You had a couple guys get to 31, 32. I wish we hadn't had to do that. You wish you hadn't had to heat guys back up, There's a level at which I wonder. Yes, it would have been nice to have called a timeout, but I wonder how much Coach Davis, similar to Roy Williams, was saying, you boys got yourselves in this mess, get out of it. Because you're going to have situations in this season where you got to learn to do something. Maybe that's what's going through his head. But for my money's worth, when it dipped under 20, that's when I was looking for it. Because it never should, from 32, just even them shaving it down to 20, I was like, oh man, this just got under 20. That's weird. That's the moment I wanted to time out. And so I'm with you, Baxter, and others who were saying for that. But again, I appreciate Baxter's last point too. Total domination when it mattered. Carolina rendered Syracuse inept, unable to do anything while this game mattered. Joe Alexander says Stevenson has been clutch lately. Man, Jaron Stevenson, I've been really grateful for what he's been adding. We've said it over and over and over, or I've said it over and over and over. What Jaron doesn't have to do is contribute 17 points a game like he did against Virginia. What he does have to do is have just hustle and grit and tenacity. He had another offensive rebound that he just ripped away tonight. I loved that. Like, that kind of stuff is what Jaron has to be doing. Hit another three. He was 1 of 3 in this game. 2 of 6 from the field. Had a couple that he missed that he could have gotten in. His other shot was a layup that came like just 2 possessions after that 3. So the flurry of those points came together. 4 rebounds, right? Like an assist, 0 turnovers. We'll take that. But yeah, man, I feel like Jaron's energy level has gone up of late. And so I'm right with you there, Joseph Alexander. Great to see you. Yeah, a lot of negativity about foot on the gas and a 40 minutes. And so, yeah. Melinda Dolphin brings this up. It's true. Given our record the last 5 years in the game before Duke, this was less bad. Yeah. Look, Carolina, since 2020, they showed this stat on the broadcast. 1-5 in the game preceding Duke for that first one. That's un bueno, right? And so a win is a win is a win. But again, it's that dirty taste in your mouth. And so there's that. And ultimately, they won the basketball game, right? Like, I think we need to remember that was a thing. And so looks like there's just a lot of back and forth. And so, yeah, everything's just a lot of trying to make sense of what happened down the stretch. So there's nothing else I want to say here about the game. If there is other stuff from the chat, I'll catch it and I'll put it in Tuesday's show, which we're going to go live Tuesday morning. I believe I'm going to do that at 9 a.m. Eastern time in the morning, our Tuesday show, more unpacking of this game, and we'll do that. Here's what I want to say as we think about what's next. Obviously now, what's today? Monday. got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 5 sleeps till the Duke game. You got to figure out who you are. What is the learning takeaway from this game? What is it we did to build a 32-point lead? And how do we do more of that? And what is it in us that now multiple times this season has needlessly allowed teams back in the game? What is the lack? Because look, I don't expect that Carolina is going to get a 32-point lead and keep it in the 30s, because Syracuse is a basketball team that's not awful. Like they're not good, but they're not awful. They're middling. Maybe a little less than middling, but you know what I mean? Like, and so I expected they would get it back into the 20s. But not that. So what is it in us that is allowing that to happen, and how do we curtail it? Some of that's on the players, some of that's on the staff. I think it's a both and there. I'm not going to pin it on either one specifically, but I think both have culpability there, and they got to look themselves in the mirror and figure that out. And then this is a week of preparing as you would for any game, but you don't like, I know everyone always says, it's just another basketball. It's not just another basketball game, man. Like, I don't care how many different ways you want to try to say that. That's fake. That's something you try to tell yourself to make yourself feel like, oh, it doesn't matter. And what I think needs to happen over the course of these next several days is there's a lot of Seth Trimble telling these dudes about what this game is going to be like, how different the energy is going to be Saturday night in the Smith Center versus even tonight, what they experienced against Syracuse. Same building, wildly different environment. And so you got to buckle up. And we'll talk more about that as the week goes on, but it's just time to start thinking about that. And also, let's not miss what a huge opportunity this is for Carolina to get. I don't know. I'm assuming, the Duke win would be the biggest win of the year. I was going to try to think about, like, is it bigger than the road win at Virginia? But I think it is, because it's Duke. They're undefeated in conference play. And so you got a chance Saturday to make a huge, massive statement win against Duke, against Cam Boozer, the presumptive national player of the year. All eyes on this game. Let's go make it happen. All right, you guys, thanks for being with me. Thanks for coming in late. As I had said a couple times leading up, my wife had a work event tonight, like a dinner at our church that we needed to go be at. It was kind of our church staff doesn't do their Christmas party in December, because church staffs are like crazy in December. They actually wait till February, and she's in charge of it. So we were at that tonight, and I wanted to make sure to be there and support her. So I'm grateful to all of you for hanging out and waiting on me. It means so much. It's great to be together. I know it's a frustrating win, but you know what word I just said? Win. And we will absolutely take a double-digit win over an ACC opponent. You wish it was more double digits, and that's all it is. If you haven't subscribed to the show on video and audio, do it now so you don't miss a second of Locked On Tar Heels. If you haven't joined the brand new Everydayers Club or the Discord, those links are both in the show notes. Again, we're going to go live in the morning around 9 a.m. Eastern time. Would love to see you there for more talking about this game and celebrating the ladies who got a nice big fat win on, not big fat in terms of margin. It was a 2-point win, but over NC State in Raleigh. That is big time. Way to go, ladies. So proud of all of you. You guys, it's always a great day to be a Tar Heel. We're going to talk again in the morning, Tuesday morning, but until then, peace.